In a bold, powerful move, Wilson Sporting Goods dropped an absolutely game-changing commercial featuring none other than Caitlin Clark. And the moment it hit social media and TV screens, people noticed. Not just fans, not just athletes, but even massive companies like Nike, whose silence, hesitation, or miscalculations in recent months are now under an intense spotlight. Wilson just made a statement, a loud one, and you better believe Nike heard it. The brand wars in sports just got real. And today we're breaking it all down, what this Wilson ad means for Caitlin Clark, why it caught fire instantly, and how it has already created instant panic at Nike headquarters. This isn't just about one ad. It's about a power shift happening before our eyes. So let's dive in. When Wilson Sporting Goods released their new Caitlin Clark commercial, it wasn't your typical sports brand fluff. It wasn't just flashy visuals or meaningless slogans. No, this was a declaration. Set against a dramatic, black and white backdrop, Caitlin Clark walked onto the hardwood with her signature confidence. The kind we've all seen on the court. The narration wasn't hype. It was grounded. It was real. Spoke about precision, discipline, obsession, and love for the game. And what did Wilson do? They gave her a platform that didn't just showcase her skills. They celebrated her identity as a generational athlete and as the face of a changing sport. The basketball world has always had faces: LeBron, Steph, Kobe. But Wilson made it clear, Caitlin Clark is basketball now. And they backed it up with the visuals, the message, and the energy to match. It was subtle but powerful. And fans immediately responded. Within hours, the video was going viral on X, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Comments poured in from all over the country. People calling it the best sports ad they've seen in years. Praising how authentic it felt and how right it was. For decades, Nike has been the undisputed king when it comes to athlete branding. They moved fast. They signed players before they ever reached their peaks. They built empires off of signature shoes and unforgettable ad campaigns. But with Caitlin Clark, silence. While Wilson stepped up, Nike remained quiet. No major campaign, no viral moment, no big announcement. Just a lot of speculation and waiting. Now, to be clear, Caitlin Clark did sign a nil deal with Nike while she was still at Iowa. And there's no doubt Nike knows her value. But knowing value and acting on it are two very different things. In the weeks after the WNBA draft, when Caitlin Clark became one of the most recognizable figures in all of sports, fans expected Nike to unleash a campaign that matched her moment. Instead, it was Wilson who pulled the trigger, and did it with class, clarity, and purpose. And now, Nike looks like it's playing catch-up. That's not a position they're used to. So why did this commercial hit with such force? Because Wilson didn't just release a product, they told a story. A story that resonated. They didn't rely on trends, memes, or gimmicks. They leaned into the truth that Caitlin Clark has changed basketball forever, and she's done it by being unapologetically herself. They didn't wait for Caitlin to become marketable. They understood that she already was. And they weren't afraid to let her narrative drive the creative direction. Compare that to other brands who seem to be tiptoeing around her rise, unsure of how to market a young woman who breaks attendance records, leads in jersey sales, and dominates headlines every single week. Wilson saw what was happening and leaned in, and they're already reaping the rewards. Sales of Caitlin Clark merchandise connected to the ad? Exploding. Engagement across platforms? Off the charts. And brand perception? Let's just say Wilson isn't just a basketball brand anymore. They're now the brand with its finger on the pulse of the new era of hoops. It's time we put this plainly. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a marketing phenomenon. We're talking about an athlete whose jersey sales are outpacing entire WNBA teams, whose games are drawing record-breaking viewership, who's selling out arenas across the country, even on the road. She's not chasing the spotlight is chasing her. And yet, while Wilson understood that and acted on it with urgency, Nike sat still. Some have speculated Nike was waiting to launch a full signature shoe. Others say they were unsure how to position her without controversy. But in branding, timing is everything. And while they waited, Wilson struck. And now, They're the ones being celebrated for elevating women's basketball when it mattered most. Nike is now left scrambling, trying to regain control of a narrative they once dominated. As soon as the Wilson ad dropped, social media lit up, not just with praise for Caitlin, but with criticism of Nike. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark or one commercial. This is about a broader movement in women's sports. For years, women athletes have struggled to get the visibility, the respect, and the investment they deserve. But 2024 and 2025? Different story. We're seeing a shift, a massive one. Viewership is soaring. Attendance is at all-time highs. Merchandise is flying off the shelves. And Caitlin Clark is at the center of it all. That means brands have to evolve. The old playbook doesn't work anymore. You can't wait 3 years to decide who to back. You can't wait for a safe, polished narrative to build. You've got to move. Wilson did. Nike didn't. And that's why the headlines are being dominated by Wilson today, not just in sports news, but in marketing and business outlets too. And what about Caitlin Clark herself? She stayed composed, professional, confident. She shared the Wilson ad on her personal accounts, thanking the company for their belief and their commitment to the game she loves. No digs, no drama, just appreciation. That's part of what makes her so marketable. She's not trying to be a brand. She's just being herself. And ironically, that authenticity is what every brand is now desperately trying to package and sell. Nike may have the resources, but Wilson has something more important right now, momentum. So what's next? Nike can't stay silent forever. They know the pressure is on. Executives are surely feeling the heat. And insiders report that something is in the works. Will it be a signature shoe drop? A full multimedia campaign? A surprise collab? Whatever it is, they'll have to bring their A game because Wilson has already raised the bar. And fans will be watching closely. More importantly, Caitlin's fans, arguably the most passionate and loyal in all of sports right now, are not going to accept anything half-baked. They want to see brands treat her with the respect and urgency she's earned. If Nike delivers, they could still reclaim their place in the conversation. But if they fumble again, there are plenty of brands waiting in the wings. Adidas, Under Armour, even smaller upstarts, ready to take the shot. Wilson saw the moment and seized it. They bet big on Caitlin Clark, and they're already winning. Nike, for the first time in a long time, is playing defense. And the court just got a lot more competitive. So the question now isn't whether Caitlin Clark will dominate. We already know she will. And what brand do you think should team up next with Caitlin Clark? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more WNBA updates,